Hi, guys. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Oh, boy. How's everybody doing this morning? It's going to be a busy day because we've got the sentencing today, this morning. It's probably going to take all day. I don't know for sure how many people how many victims plan to make actual victim impact statements. Hey, Shift, what up? Good afternoon, Shift. It's morning, lady. Come on. Unless it's a different time zone in your fish tank, I don't know. But good to see you. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Anyway, now I forgot what I was gonna say because I got distracted by the good afternoon. See how easy it is for me. Um, oh yes, I don't know how many people plan to actually give statements today, both for this, for the state, and then the I don't know if anybody is going to speak up for Darrell, I should say, it's Darrell Brooks. I don't know. So we'll be here. I mean, I feel like at this point, honestly, we owe it to the victims. We've sat through quite a bit of Brooks's courtroom antics, and I think that we owe it to the victims to watch and to be supportive and to cheer on their path to recovery and healing, honestly. What, Navigator? How dare YouTube? Okay, this is what I have heard said is a possible solution. Yes, objection. I wonder if he is going to try to discuss subject matter jurisdiction today. That would be interesting. So, Navigator, what I have heard is there are two potential solutions. One is easier, well, like supposed to be more effective than the other. I don't know. I don't even know if more effective than the other's even right either. Let me just say two solutions. One is to go over to the notifications and click all again. Okay. And that should do it. The other one is to unsubscribe, then subscribe again, and then hit the bell. So I don't know. I feel like we should honestly do a whole like scientific experiment, right? So we should get people, like 10 people, right? 5 of them should just do the bell thingy, do the bell trick, right? And then 5 of them should do the whole unsub, resub, blah, 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 blah thing and see which one works better. I'm curious. I really am. I want to know which works better because I've done both. And so I can't even, I've ruined the study by doing that. So, yeah. Good morning, Corky. All right. The other thing that we have going on is Pike County. And I thought perhaps just while we wait, because we got about 30 minutes until Brooks is supposed to be on. Let's see what's going on over there because I'm very curious. When I watched last. Not I mean, I watched a little bit yesterday, but then there was gonna be no, like, testimony, and it was just gonna be a hearing. Um, what I understood from Thursday, when they ended court Thursday, was that, the defense was the state was gonna rest, and the defense was gonna begin. For real, because I know they already put, like, a couple. No, actually, I don't. I don't know how anybody. Oh, I know what are you talking about pace? Shift. I mean, I suppose the thought behind that is that people from New York can't make salsa. I don't know. I don't understand what that is about. So yeah, but right now, here I'll add what's going on over there in Pike. They appear to be going over. Oh, let me. I don't like this layout because of. I don't want to even give the impression that I'm covering up lawn crimes logo, because that's rude. Oh, I'm gonna give me a second. I'm bubbling. I can see the Wi-Fi thingy.
B185, B187, B188, B188A.
Good morning, Sugar Beet. It's a solo mish today, babe. I'm by myself.
B219, B222, B260.
How did you just now? Though, really, Shift? You just now learned they're going over like
through B276.
evidence that they, I don't know, want in, don't want in. I don't know if there's even going to be any testimony today, and I can't.
Something through B289.
Yeah, we're going to remove this and go back over to Brooks. Not much is happening over there in the whole Pike County just right now. You know what I mean? So we're going to go back over to Waukesha. Just FYI, do you know how many times I had to fix the spelling of Waukesha? Like 11 billion. I kept typoing it for no reason. I don't know what's going on with me lately, but it's like it's my first second with the keyboard and also with spelling, apparently. It's very difficult. Apparently, it's a developing skill at this time. Yeah, Shift, that whole I don't know how you saw it on a beta tape, babe, because beta hasn't been around since I don't even know, like 80 something, and it didn't do well. And everybody just sort of went to VHS. So if you were able to see it on a beta tape, that's like, you better hold on to it. It's probably worth money. But yeah, that used to be a commercial. I remember that. New York City, get the rope. Yeah, I remember that commercial. So, what else can I tell you? Let's see. I did, oh, I know what I can tell you guys. Tonight, Dr. B and Jen Lou together again. We're going to roast Chandler Alderson. Because my whole plan initially was to do that Chandler Halderson episode, right? Or make that video, and then and then go to the roast, right? Same night. But I needed 24 hours between Chazzle Dazzle and myself, and then Chazzle Dazzle and me and Dr. B, because I always have fun with Dr. B, right? And that's like not the issue. It's just that, when you make a video, how you have to go back and listen. And I was so over hearing myself talk and Chazzle Dazzle that I was like, no. In 8 years, huh? All right, Shift. Well, you let me know when you're ready to Um, yeah, sugar beet. Here's the thing. Um, my very own, the ward's very own Rottweiler Investigations had it first and posted it first, uploaded it first. So I would encourage you guys to go over to Rottweiler Investigations to watch that interview with Kat Millender. Oh, I know, Navigator. I remember us watching it. And you know what's funny is when I was putting together like the clips from his interview or his interrogation, however you want to say it, they're really the same thing. Um, I heard the noon 30, and I had totally, I guess my like brain had just tried to scrub old Chazzle Dazzle from my memory banks. But yeah, well, I don't know what else to call it because we're not, you know, I don't know. I do remember the neighbor's testimony, of course, but I don't know what else we should call it. Isn't that what it is? I suppose I could make the title real long and I could title it Shit Talk and Chazzle Dazzle just for this one time. I don't know. It's a good point though. I didn't really actually I remember it, but I suppose I guess I didn't think about it in those terms. I'm glad you pointed that out to me. You know, I my thing with Kat is I don't quite know how to take her, and I think I'm gonna have to watch her interviews a couple of more times because I don't know, maybe because I'm older now, like 45 is old, and y'all, I'm only gonna be 45 for like another couple of minutes. I'm gonna turn 46 in January. So I'm really not even 40. Basically, I'm not even 45 anymore. I'm 46. Well, I'm still 45. I don't even like how that came out. Okay, basically, I'm closer to 46 than I am to 45. So there you go. But anyway, as I get older, I notice that my processing speed is slower. And it takes me a while to like I have like initial impressions obviously when I watch interrogations or interviews or whatever from people involved with crimes, but for me to get like the full on all the feelings and all the thoughts and all the impressions, I got to watch at least twice. And I don't know why that is, but I really feel like maybe that's like an old age thing. But while we're just sitting around chit-chatting before we get to the sentencing, if you guys haven't already, would you do me a big favor and give your girl a thumbs up? I'd appreciate it. Hey, Broken Justice, how you doing? Yeah, so that would be great if you guys would do that. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, 45. Everything is a little slower. And you know what else? They talk about it in your 40s, but it didn't really happen to me until like about probably last year, like when I turned 45, like 44 going into 45 maybe. How are you going to wait? How are you going to go to sleep and wake up in pain? And I'm not talking about like I always have back pain. That's normal for me. Like I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about new pain. New pain. What is the new pain? I hurt in places that I didn't even know I had. Like I'm discovering new parts of my body through pain. I don't understand what that's about, perhaps it was in the fine print, and you know me, I barely read the fine print unless it's a legal document. Then I've been reading all the things like 37 times at least, more like 50, 1100 if I'm being honest. But I, mm-mm. Like I'm hurt. I'm hurting in places I didn't even know existed on my body. Like my pancreas sometimes be hurting. What is that even about? I'm just kidding. I don't even, my pancreas doesn't hurt, but other parts of my body be hurting. Like the other day, I was standing in the kitchen, right? Just standing there, and I was washing dishes. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes this whole like shooting pain in the back of my knee. I don't even know what that body part is. I know the front of your knee is your kneecap, right? And then you have the two bones on the side or whatever those are that make the bend, um, make your knee bend or whatever. But what is in the back? Because whatever the hell is back there ain't happy. Oh, bless your heart, Quirky. Bless your heart, babe. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what body part that is. I know that there's probably a medical term. I know that there's a medical term for sure for that, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head at this time. It seems like the only thing that I have space for in my brain, and I was just telling my husband this the other day, song lyrics and movie quotes. So I couldn't, okay, this is what had happened. I was working on the video, and my office is in a little corner in my bedroom. It's my Nebo. All right. So, this is why I like Florida though, Navigator, because I don't have that. It's been very helpful for the aches and pains. So, like, this is even aches and pains that are like my body's like, I don't care where you are. I don't care if it's warm 25/8, 365. You're going to wake up in pain, ma'am. So, I was sitting at my desk and putting this video together, and I needed something. So I went into the other room, and I walked right past my husband on the couch watching TV like 3 times because I could not remember what I had gone in there to go and get. But when I like work, I have either music or like YouTube in the background, and I happen to have YouTube, or no, it was Pandora in the background, and Beastie Boys was on, and I was listening to So What You Want, but it's a different mix. And I'm walking in and out of the bedroom, right? 37 different times for God knows what, because I still don't remember what I got up for. I know I did. I don't think I even got it. I don't remember. But the whole time I'm just rapping along with Beastie Boys, and it's a different beat. They've remixed it. The tempo's a little different. You know what I mean? And I said to and my husband finally said, he's like, "Babe, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. I keep coming in here for something, and I don't remember what it is that I'm coming in here for." And he said, "Yeah, but you remember every freaking line to the Beastie Boys song." And I was like, "Yeah, because when I go to the old folks' home, I'm gonna be providing the entertainment. I'm not gonna be able to remember your name, my name, the kids' names, the grandkids' names, but I'm gonna be up on that stage performing Beastie Boys and any other songs that come to my brain." So yeah. Oh, I have all those business. Yeah, the hot flashes, those are fun. Super, super fun. Tons. Yeah, they're just really just fun. Yeah, Michigan is like all that. The closer you are to the Canadas, the closer you are to Penguinville, in my opinion. I mean, you might as well be living next to Santa's workshop at that point. You know what I'm saying? You know, like like I have squirrels, y'all have penguins up there. I couldn't do it. I mean, I suppose if I was like born up there or whatever, I probably would be just fine, but nah. Amelia, what's up? You just passed through now? You can't stay and chill with us? What's up? I'm gonna start to take it personal in a minute. No, just kidding. Can you imagine I was like that? I'm just glad you passed through and said hi. Hi. Did you lose me? Uh-oh. Hold on, let me see. No, I'm here. I can see it. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, I'm still here. Amelia, you gotta quit scaring me like that. Excuse me. Listen, I'm a smoker. It is what it is. I hope to quit someday. And for everybody who's been able, I've tried many, many times. It's all right, babe. I've tried many, many times. I um I just have not been successful. Maybe I mean I keep trying every so often. And I'm hoping one time it will stick. And so for everybody that has been successful at quitting smoking, congratulations, because I know that is very difficult, very, very hard. Um, yeah, Sugar Beet, like 60 miles from the Canadas. That's, you're in Penguinville. I just, I don't, like, mm-mm. Even with the inconvenience of the occasional hurricane or tropical storm, I can't, like, there's no way. I mean, I've told you guys the story of me going to Vegas in December and it being like 63 degrees and my teeth are chattering like a big baby. Because, even in where I'm from, North Texas, we get ice and snow and stuff like that. Not like all the time. Like it's not a normal thing. That's why Texas pretty much shuts down when that happens because we don't know how to deal with it because it's not a regular occurrence. But it does. There's winter there. January is brutal. But mm-mm. Like, I know cold, not like penguin level cold, you know, but, I just ever since I moved to Florida, I don't know, my blood has, like, thinned or whatever because it's hot most of the time here, and, I don't have it's happening. Okay, hold on. Alright. Let me add this to the stream. Let me make sure my settings are correct. Alright, everything's good. We're gonna go. There's no sound yet, though. So, well, congratulations, Amelia. I'm proud of everybody that's been able to do it. It's just the one thing I can't quit. Well, there's 2 things. Well, there's more like 3 things. I can't quit smoking. I can't quit my husband, and I can't quit snacks and naps. Just can't. Oh, yeah, Sugar Beet. Hey, Amanda, good to see ya. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was born in Arizona. I was born in Tucson, and I lived there until I was 10, and then me and my family moved to, Texas. So I spent more time in Texas than Arizona, really. But yeah, Arizona is beautiful. The mountains are beautiful. I remember when I was young, my parents used to take me and my sister up to the White Mountains and Mount Lemon, and I mean, it's a really cool place. It's just that. Oh yeah, I'm glad you're here, babe. I'm not really doing anything really incredibly entertaining today, so I hope you're not like super disappointed. I don't know, entertaining today. I mean, like entertaining right now. Um, Like, I'm just kind of kicking it while we wait. Um, I do also want to say that I am very, very aware of what's going on in the Michael Vaughn case and some of the behavior of some very unscrupulous YouTubers. And I would just like to say that I'd much rather not focus on them and what they're doing and really focus on getting Michael justice. I can't imagine what his parents must be going through right now. My heart breaks for them, especially because of the way that his mom got the news. And I mean, just her video, her when it happened, it just absolutely broke me. And I would like to shout out the creators that have stepped up and said,
Until 8:30 to call the case. So we have about a minute.
absolutely not. And they deserve shout outs, because one of the things about YouTube that makes YouTube unique and why so many people are on YouTube versus other platforms is because YouTube really relies on the communities to police themselves. And the true crime community, I'm proud of the creator up and said, no, we're A, ethical reporting, and B, when we see not non-ethical reporting, we are going and practices and content, we're going to call it out. And I stand behind those creators doing that, and I support them 100%, because what happened was 100% wrong, just absolutely foul. So that's my little soapbox.
We'll call State of Wisconsin versus Darrell E. Brooks. 1848 may have the appearances.
She's very quiet, but
Good morning, Judge Sue Apper, Leslie Basie, and Zach Wichow appearing for the state.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Darrell Brooks Jr. I'm here for this matter by special appearance. It is not my intention to bring any controversy to you, Your Honor, or your court today. I'm wondering how I may settle this matter. Is there anyone here in the court that can give me a rendering of the account? Please, if it pleases Your Honor.
Appearances noted. The court will not be responding to that last question. We are here today to start the sentencing hearing in this case. This, of course, following your conviction on all counts.
Did
following the jury trial.
anybody
concluded,
catch closed
in
captions?
late October. I will acknowledge, sir, there are
Because
a
that
number of documents you
was
filed today. One is a motion for stay pending appeal.
yikes
There are
on
two
bikes.
ICFs that came in as well, both addressed to me. One related to court costs and fees, requesting a copy of the record at the court's expense. And then the other one also requesting a certified copy of the record, written and recorded, statement that you're waiving all fees and court costs, and that you would be appearing by special appearance. The court's not going to take these up initially.
Special appearance.
In
I don't
order
even
for
know.
a court to consider a motion for stay pending appeal, the matter must be finally adjudicated, including the
Sentencing.
signing of a judgment of conviction. Once that is done, I will schedule the motion for stay pending appeal accordingly. That way the state can also have proper notice of that and be prepared to address that with the court in terms of your request to waive costs and fees.
Oh, wow, Amelia.
I will
I bet what a
interpret
relief for your
written
family, babe.
IZFs as a request that at
I'm so
sentencing, I
glad to
waive
hear that.
costs associated
But
with these convictions to the
and
extent
sad for you
that
at
is
the same
allowable
time. You
under
know
the
what I
law.
mean?
As
I
far
know you
as
know.
the record is concerned, this court is not the custodian. As far as anything in the written record
That's the
or the
clerk.
file, the clerk of court is the custodian. As far as the official transcripts of the proceedings, those will need to be prepared. And there are costs associated with that. And there is a form that you or a lawyer acting on your behalf would need to file in order for this court to consider that. So I'll take all of that under advisement, but will not be addressing that specifically other than what I have just noted. The other thing I want to take up preliminarily before I hear from individuals who are here to make statements is the letter that I sent.
I'm glad
to the
it's over
parties
for you, babe. I really am.
yesterday.
I've been thinking
does
about
address
you,
one
Amelia. You know, I be
topic that
staying
I wanted
quiet,
to
but I
address
do
at the
care
beginning
about
of the
all of
hearing
you guys.
today,
I
and
do.
that is
You
your
guys are on my
request
mind.
for
Speaking of on my
individuals
mind,
to
there's
speak at
somebody I haven't
sentencing
heard
did
from
not
in a minute.
contain
I
a
need to go
request that
check
they
on
appear
them.
by
So
Zoom.
please
I
hold. I'm
wanted
going to
to
mute.
clarify that with
But I'll
you,
be in
sir.
chat.
You were requesting that they appear by Zoom and make their statements if they're not present in the courtroom on your behalf when the appropriate time comes.
Yes, I apologize for that, Your Honor. I didn't know that it some type of step that I was supposed to include in that to make sure that they would appear by Zoom. I'm a little confused, so I apologize for
Sir,
that.
I don't know where any of these individuals live, whether they are local and can make it here or not. And I had anticipated that either of the parties, if there was a request for someone to appear by Zoom, that would be specifically made so that I could then take the appropriate steps. There is time. My intention would be that when the state has rested their portion of the sentencing hearing, all of their speakers have spoken and they have given their sentencing argument, that I would, depending on where it's at, probably take a break, start up the Zoom at that point, allow the individuals who wish to make a statement on your behalf to do so one at a time. But otherwise, I wasn't going to keep the Zoom up because the proceedings are being live streamed. Is that acceptable to you, sir?
In part, so I'm still a little confused on how would I get the Zoom link to those who wish to speak on my behalf?
My understanding is your mom has contacted the clerk of court's office. I haven't addressed that in any way, but I would then give my staff permission to reach out to her. I believe she has left her phone number, and we could do that and provide that Zoom information to her. And I presume she would be able to get it to the individuals on your list. It's very important, though, that only those individuals appear on the Zoom. That's the only people I will approve, unless they're here in court, of course. And then the other parameters are that that individuals who are on the Zoom for that portion of the sentencing hearing keep their microphones off, their cameras off until they are making a statement, and they have to be identified with obviously the name that was provided by you, and only those individuals. What I don't want to see is, one person and then 10 people behind them. That's not what I approved. So do you understand that, sir?
I have a quick question about that. Like
All right.
one of the people that wish to speak on my behalf would be the mother of my youngest daughter, and I'm not sure when exactly she'll be speaking, and it's a chance that she would actually have my daughter with her. With that,
How old is your daughter?
she's 8.
As long as the child remains quiet and doesn't interrupt, I will allow that one exception.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I will instruct Madam Clerk to let my other clerk know that the Zoom information can be released to your mom. There's a meeting ID and passcode, and that can be provided to the other individuals on the list. And I anticipate that that won't be until sometime this afternoon that we get to that portion of the sentencing hearing.
So if they have, because I know my grandmother would like to speak, and she's very elderly. So if she has any trouble like accessing it, will someone probably on my behalf be able to walk her through that? Or
Well, I assume she might need help with that, or someone will be
she's
available.
80, so I don't think she's. Well, I know that she's not the most.
I trust they will have
Savvy.
that all figured out, sir. So, all right. All right, then. Is there anything else the parties wish me to address preliminarily before I turn to the state?
Yes,
From
Your
the-
Honor, I do have a few preliminary matters, please. The filings that you just referenced from Mr. Brooks, I did not see those in the electronic queue this morning. Would it be possible for the state to get copies, please?
Yes, they believe were hand delivered. Or Zach may be, my other clerk Zach may be doing that right now. We'll make sure, but Teresa can make copies for you as well.
Okay. I also wanted to ask a couple of housekeeping matters, Your Honor, as far as timing and scheduling. If we complete the hearing today, then I assume that eliminates the need for the hearing tomorrow. Is that correct? Or do you see a version where we come back tomorrow no matter what?
I do see a version where we come back tomorrow, no matter what. I want to be able to digest the statements from everyone and process them accordingly. There's going to be quite a few for both sides, and I think it's appropriate that I take the overnight to do that and come back tomorrow to render the sentence.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. The other question is we have the easel back in the courtroom. Some people did want to display some foam boards. If it meets the court's approval, we'll leave it at this location and then just pass up the exhibits, and Detective Regland can display them if that's okay with the court.
Well, it's certainly like Mr. Brooks to be able to see them as well. Mr. Brooks, are you able to see the easel from where you are? Otherwise, I could have it put in the witness stand too. And then Detective Regland could just
Sure.
kind of facilitate that.
Sure, okay. That will work. And then other individuals have brought digital photographs that we'll be displaying. So we'll need your clerk's assistance with that. And again, we'll be using Ms. Gussie at the back table to accomplish that.
All right, thank you. All right, anything else from you, sir, before we start this morning?
Yeah, just really quick. Very quick reference to the ICFs. I did address ICF to the clerk of courts in regards to the record. So I should have mentioned that when you was talking about it, but I did actually I addressed it to her personally.
I trust she'll respond in due course then. Anything else?
Not at this time, man.
All right. I will note that it appears yesterday some restitution information was filed. Was that hand delivered to Mr. Brooks? Attorney Opper? The restitution information, was that hand delivered to Mr. Brooks?
Yes. Everything we e-filed yesterday was provided to Mr. Brooks personally in the jail, Your Honor.
To that, Your Honor. There were a number of documents that I did not accept.
I'll have
And
the
mainly-
clerk print them off. There is a restitution request from the Waukesha School District totaling, oh, that's just one piece of it. Let me look at the letter again. There's a letter from the state and then a crime victim compensation request as well. The state will be requesting $47,193.29 to EMC Insurance Company on behalf of the School District of Waukesha, and additionally requesting $124,220.65 to crime victim compensation. That's the program through the Department of Justice. And supporting documentation, I believe, was also filed. Let me just look for that.
Well, can you say it again, Your Honor?
And we'll have it printed off.
was delivered to him yesterday. Whether he accepted it or not, I don't know, but it's available to him in the jail, Your Honor.
All right, understood. All right,
I
thank
don't
you.
have it. Just for the record.
Madam Clerk will print it off and you'll have it.
Okay, I'm going to stop you
Shortly.
right
I don't know
there,
if they
Mr. Brooks. You don't
where they
have
put
it
after I didn't.
because you didn't
And the
accept
reason
it.
why I want to state this for the record, the reason
Oh,
why I
boy.
didn't is because I didn't know what it was.
Oh,
When they came to my cell, I was sleeping, so I was just like, whatever, I'm not getting up.
oh,
So it wasn't
okay.
like a exchange or anything like that. It was just like, hey, we got some mail. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not. And he was like, all right.
All right, that'll be noted for the record, but again, it is being provided to you this morning. And you'll be able to review that as you see fit.
They do.
All right, then Attorney Opper, one last
Sugar
question
bait,
from the court. Do you anticipate
100%.
making your sentencing recommendation at the conclusion of all of the other statements being made?
Yes.
All right. With that,
100%.
then, you may commence.
All right, thank you, Your Honor, and I appreciate that. I do intend to just make some very brief preliminary statements to the court and then commence with the individuals who are present and have asked to speak. I just want to state again for the record, we have organized the individuals who want to provide a verbal statement to the court into 3 or 4 groups. I think we're at 3, we're at 4. Okay, we're at 4 groups. We have the first group present in the courtroom, Your Honor, and along with their support persons and family members and things like that. We will go through the first group and then request that brief break to trade out the groups if that's agreeable to the court. I just want the court to be aware and state something that's maybe obvious, but maybe not. The people that are speaking to this court are direct victims of this crime. They were either charged individuals or representatives of the groups such as the Blazers or the bank or whatever. You're very familiar with these groups now after having gone through trial. These are people with a direct link to either someone that was hurt or injured or killed. That's who we're presenting to you today. Obviously, there could have been thousands of people that would want to share with this court their thoughts, impressions, and the impact that this crime had on them. We did not turn anyone away, but some individuals did contact our office and expressed a desire to contact the court, or I'm sorry, to speak to the court. We directed them to write the court a letter if they felt it was appropriate. I don't know if the court
Hey,
received
Charlie.
any
Good to see
such
ya.
written materials. We also provided some written impact statements on behalf of our charged victims. I know the court has those and has very likely reviewed those.
For all of
already.
you who've just slid in like Charlie and haven't done
I don't
so
want to spend a
already,
lot
give
of
your
time
girl a
with my
thumbs up
thoughts and
on the
impressions
stream.
right
I'd
now, because I
appreciate
think
it.
what's really
Helps get me out there in the
most important
algorithm,
for-
helps y'all get your
is for this court to hear from
notifications.
these families. And the reason I say that is, Judge, that at trial, we asked some cursory questions about the injuries that were received and the impact that these crimes had on the individuals that were directly involved, but we didn't spend a lot of time on that. And I think this court is really going to be astounded to hear the level of injury that many of these people suffered. Many children suffered the impact, the life-changing impact it's had on them. So this will be different and new information than what we presented at trial. And I think it's very relevant and important for Your Honor to consider when you're deciding on a fair and appropriate sentence, and knowing the gravity of the crime, the seriousness of the situation, and the impact that it had on the community, to hear from these families directly as to what they went through. And again, this was touched on at trial as far as the physical
Good
injury
morning in
versus the
5, 6,
emotional
7, 8.
injury and the
How
trauma
you
that has been
doing?
suffered. So I think that will be important as well for this court to appreciate this defendant's conduct. We're past the guilty finding. He's been convicted. Now it's time to talk about what exactly his conduct did to our community and to these families. So these speakers are grouped not necessarily within
I
the
just want to
groups
say
as they
something
march
real
down the
quick.
street.
Charlie, don't you apologize. I completely understand. And I be keeping you in my thoughts and prayers, you and your sister. And I know that you've been a busy bee. So don't you ever apologize. I'm just glad to see you this morning. All right. Okay. There we go.
But there is some logic to, so we're not going to bounce all over the place is what I'm trying to say. We'll try and clump them together to make the most sense to the court, and with the court's permission. We have a set lineup. Of course, we may need to be a little bit fluid depending on somebody's emotional state or desire to speak when it's their appointed turn.
Oh, wow.
There's
And
some
5, 6,
individuals that
7,
have
8. I'm
said they're
sorry
going
to hear
try
that,
and read
babe. I
their
hope
statement to the
everything's
court, but they may
okay.
not be able to get through it, in which case I believe Jen Dunn will step in and read the remainder of the statement for them.
Thank you. Would you please confirm on the record that the state has complied with victim rights?
Yes, we will confirm that, Your Honor. Thank you.
And then please give the court a heads up when a juvenile is next,
Yes.
so that the cameras can take the appropriate steps as well.
Yes, absolutely. And for the record, we did provide a list to the cameramen from Court TV or individuals from Court TV, and we're trying to assist them in that regard as well. We want to thank them again for their high degree of concern for obeying the court's order and their respect and intention to strictly adhere to maintaining the privacy rights of these victims. So they've been absolutely very professional in that regard, Your Honor.
Thank you. And then just lastly, because I would like to keep track, and obviously I will honor however they want to introduce themselves, but if you could also tell me which victim they relate to, if it's not self-evident,
Sure.
that would be great as well. And I'm going to keep a list.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
All right, then. I believe our first speaker would be Lori Loken.
All right, you guys.
And it
This
seems
is going to be difficult. So if you need to take a break, please do so.
How's the volume?
This will be emotional testimony. It can be triggering for some.
If it pleases the court, Your Honor, one of my staff will actually go let Court TV know when a minor is coming next. All right. And are you going to say the victim that you relate to, or I can tell the court this is for victim you?
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. I'm addressing the court. Is the microphone on? Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm addressing the court, but I also want to direct my comments to Darrell Brooks Jr. My name is Lori Locken. I was walking with the Catholic community of Waukesha, my church family. We were celebrating the joy of the season in preparation for the birth of Jesus when you made your decision to drive through the parade route. It truly amazes me that you deny your accountability for the damage and hurt that you have willfully caused. In the years ahead, I urge you to carefully consider the sorrow and grief of the Waukesha community and the world at large. Ponder the loss of lives within our families, the physical and emotional injuries that may never heal, and the sense of personal safety that you robbed from us. As for me, you never gave me a chance. I turned around and it was only seconds before you hit me square on. I clearly remember feeling the impact. The searing pain of that blow is as clear to me today as it was a year ago. Since then, I'm healing as best as I can from the physical injuries, but you took away my peace and my trust, something that I will never regain. My prayer for you is that you will find your salvation in the midst of this evil. I hope that you will repent for the heartache you have caused so many. I too pray that your own personal wounds that you have sustained through your life, which has created so many demons in you, will be healed through this action. Thank you.
Thank the court for this opportunity.
Hey, Chick
I
Tracy,
am
good
Bill
to see you,
Mitchell, formerly
babe.
known as Victim ZZ. To you, Mr. Brooks, I'm charge 52. On November 21st, 2021, I was marching with the Catholic community of Waukesha and the Waukesha Christmas Parade. I was walking in the back and I noticed our banner was flying up because of the wind. So I went up to hold down the middle with so people could read it. I was joined by a priest who helped hold it down. We walked almost the entire joyful parade route when something caught my attention. I turned around and saw a headlight. And then I was hit. I didn't see the driver and I didn't see the type of vehicle. I flew over the hood and ended up on the ground with 8 broken ribs, bruised lung, fractured hand, finger, and my face was slashed open in several places, required stitches. Strangers and friends came to my aid as I lay bleeding in the street. I spent 3 nights in an ICU. Recovery was slow. My hand still has painful cramps that freeze in my fingers. But I know I was lucky. Others had a lot worse injuries and 6 died. The impact on my family was great. My wife was home recuperating from surgery when she received the call. I was hurt badly and on the way to a hospital trauma center. Not able to drive yet, she had to wait for my son and his fiance to pick her up and drive her to Oconomowoc. And after I was released, she had to do a 180 from patient to be my nurse and help me in even the most basic tasks. The stress had slowed her recovery. The continuing pain was a major factor on me giving up a part-time job I enjoyed. We had to rely on family and friends for transportation to doctors for follow-up care for months. Neighbors pitched in to do my yard work and snow removal. Youth from the neighborhood decorated the inside of our house for Christmas. This crime had a ripple effect throughout the community. I do want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for your diligent sacrifice to be here. I tell people I was blessed because I didn't see the carnage that night. I just saw people helping me. But the jury and all of you had to watch the entire awful scene on videos and hear detailed reports what happened. I'm sure that's going to stay with all of you. I wanted to thank the judge for her patience and knowledge, the police, Detective Casey, for their thorough investigation and quick arrest, the prosecution for presenting such a strong case. A special thank you to Jen Dunn, Carrie, and the entire victims assistance team that informed, comforted, and listened to the many people impacted by this tragic event. Finally, I can't bring myself to thank the defendant, but the response to the evil act he did shined a spotlight on how strong, supportive, and loving community we live in. Many people and organizations stepped up to help me. Family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, first responders, Aurora, doctors, nurses, my church family, the Catholic community of Waukesha, Knights of Columbus, AOH, United for Waukesha Community Fund, Catholic Charities, and so many strangers offered support and prayers. The vast majority of people are good. That said, then there is Mr. Brooks. He is a unique individual who can have a clear conscience after running over kids like speed bumps and killing 6 people. I would suggest someone without a conscience. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He doesn't admit to doing anything wrong. It is never his fault. When he slapped a woman, it was her fault because she made him mad. I believe if he made it home that night with the red SUV, he would have told his mom the damage wasn't his fault. He was in a hurry and people didn't get out of his way. Some crazy old fat gray hair guy body slammed his hood. I didn't watch all the trial, but the parts I saw showed Mr. Brooks had a lack of empathy for his victims or remorse for his actions. The only regrets he seemed to have is that he was caught and the impact on his own life. Free, he would probably not drive through another parade, but chances are someone so self-centered as Mr. Brooks will hurt other people again. The only life he seems to value is his own. I don't believe that Mr. Brooks will think about me or any of his victims ever. The feeling is mutual. I really don't think much about him now, but when the prison door closes on this felon, I won't think about him again. I do hope Mr. Brooks will use the Bible for more than a courtroom prop. He may want to start with the basics that I know his family had taught him, thou shalt not kill. But then you might want to read Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Your Honor, I hope you give him the time to read and study the Bible. Mr. Brooks did everything he could to try to make the trial a circus. It is not a circus. It's not even about Mr. Brooks. Today, the court will hear what the trial is about, the victims. And as former victim ZZ, I would ask the court for a sentence that keeps the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks Jr., away from society forever. Thank you.
Mr. Brooks, my name is Jason Peckloff, and I'm with the Catholic Community of Waukesha. I was one of the victims you hit with the SUV you were driving on November 21st. What you did to my Catholic community and to the city of Waukesha show that you had no regard for life. What makes it more disappointing that you have shown no remorse for what you have done. While you're sitting in prison, I want you to reflect what you have done. I want you to reflect that you nearly took my life. I almost lost the chance to see my wife and kids again. I may have never had the chance to love or hug them again. You intentionally harmed my community, whether it was physical or psychological. You stole our innocence that day. Before that tragedy you created, it was a beautiful day we all experienced and never thought an evil thing like this could ever happen at a parade. My friend, myself, and the Waukesha Catholic community were asking parishioners and their families to participate in this parade. Imagine the guilt we must all bear for the rest of our lives. Because of your actions, I was out of work for about 6 weeks. Then I had to go back part-time because of my sustained injuries. Because of your actions, the multiple lacerations you created leaked out of the bandages and onto my bed, comforter, and sheets. What an awful visual to have. Because of your actions, I could have lost my foot. Thank God my nurse friend was checking on me. Because of your actions, my wife cannot get the images out of her mind of what you have done. You have forever scarred her. Because of your actions, my wife had to hand over my children to our community friends to check on my lifeless body. Because of your actions, my children, 4 and 6 at the time, had to go with a grieving friend to find her own child that was in lockdown. It took a while for them to be reunited. Because of your actions, my children are scared to death when they had to cross the same street you drove down. They were bawling and begging me not to cross the street. Because of your actions, I need to reassure my children that it is safe at parades. Not sure they ever feel 100% safe. Because of your actions, not all people in our community are ready to go back to the parades. Again, you stole that innocence from them. Because of your actions, my children are scared of sirens. Because of your actions, they were scared of red SUVs every time they saw one. They cried and hid. Because of your actions, I walked into the entrance of my children's school and felt like a triage unit. I saw children on crutches and a walker. What an awful image to be burned into my memory. Because of your actions, I feel terrible. I could not help my community and the city by testifying during the trial. Your cowardly actions did this. Your actions forced my family to seek out therapy and resolve in their minds what happened. Your actions.
I hope you guys
made
are
us second
doing
guess what we
okay.
did that day.
This is harder
What
than
could
I
we have done
thought.
differently? During this trial, you show no remorse. It makes you look like a monster. During the trial, you show little regard and respect to the court.
No,
It
Chick
makes you look
Tracy.
disrespectful.
Wisconsin doesn't have that.
During the trial, you treated multiple witnesses terribly. You were trying to twist the words of our pastor, who is a man of the cloth. You made a comment to a witness who injured that he was walking fine now. It makes you a callous jerk. Despite what you have done to my community, I forgive you. Forgiveness does not remove the need for justice. Justice must be served and you must go to prison. My prayer is that forgiveness will heal your wounds and the wounds for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome, Chick Tracy. Different states, you know. It's hard. The justice system, if you're not in the United States or from the United States, it can be difficult to navigate.
Victim BBB, count 54. I know I am blessed to be here today to present my statement to the court. Darrell Brooks's choices on November 21st, 2021 took a toll mentally, physically, and emotionally on me, as well as affecting my family. I remember the moment someone yelled car, and I turned to see a vehicle behind and to the right of me. My thought was, what is this vehicle doing here? After that moment, I have a void in my memory. My mind won't let me see what happened. I remember my thoughts. Oh my God, this can't be happening. Please, not my hip, not my leg. My next memory is lying on the ground with a person from our group and a nurse talking to me and asking how I was. They worked on keeping me calm and from going into shock. I will always be grateful to them. Every night I would lay awake and replay the incident to see if I could get the memory back. Months of counseling and the passage of time have helped me be somewhat okay with not knowing what happened. One of my fears is that when I least expect it, the memory will return. After being impacted by the vehicle, I was laying on the ground with severe pain to my left leg. Emergency people stopped by, and one questioned whether I had been shot, and all I could think of was, why would I have been shot? I was eventually lifted into a police SUV and taken to Waukesha Memorial Hospital. I was examined and was released after being diagnosed with a broken bone in my left foot. I was instructed to wear the boot provided by the hospital, sit in a recliner, keep my leg elevated, and not put any weight on my left foot. I was instructed to follow up with an orthopedic doctor the following week. I went home and found it very hard to get from the car into the house. I couldn't figure out how to walk without putting my left foot down on the ground. My stomach was nauseous from the pain medicine. My husband and daughter assisted me into the house and sat me in a chair. I immediately passed out, and when I came to, my husband and daughter were concerned that I had had a stroke. They called 911, and I was transferred to Aurora Trauma Center. I was examined head to toe and again released with a diagnosis of a broken bone in my left foot. We live in a tri-level, and I was able to get to the lower level where there is a bedroom, a bathroom, and a family room. For the next 6 weeks, I would sit in the recliner with my left leg elevated and ice packs applied. I also slept with a wedge that kept my leg elevated while I was sleeping. After experiencing more pain in my left leg, I was sent for an ultrasound, and the ultrasound found a hematoma on the inside of my left leg. Standing up was extremely painful, even without putting pressure on my left foot. It would take me a couple of times of standing and then sitting back down on the side of the bed until I could bring myself to hop on my right leg using a walker for balance to get to the bathroom or to the recliner. My husband had to help me in and out of bed due to the extreme pain in my lower left leg. I couldn't dress or undress myself, take a shower, go to doctor's appointments, or to mass without his help. Every day he had to apply gauze wrap and an ace bandage to my left leg to cover the blisters so that as they would burst, they were covered. He then applied the boot sock and a boot. Every day for several weeks, he had to prepare all meals and bring them down on a tray to me. We were fortunate that he was working from home during this time. I had orthopedic appointments and 3 rounds of physical therapy. I am still going through physical therapy. After the bone healed in my foot, I was still experiencing pain in my ankle. The pain limited me. I had trouble walking normally. could not walk any great distance. Going up and down the stairs was best sitting on the stairs and going down that way. As time went on, I was frustrated that I could not perform the simple act of walking down the stairs. Before going to the third physical therapist, frustration set in as I thought I would always have pain and not be able to do all the things I enjoyed, such as pickleball, stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, walking miles, and traveling. My third round of physical therapy found that the whole left side of my body was twisted from the impact of the vehicle. After 10 and a half months and 3 rounds of physical therapy, I am now 95% back to normal. All the months of suffering and thinking no one would be able to figure out what was wrong, I was worried that the pain would remind me forever the choices Darrell Brooks made on November 21st, 2021. I wanted my life back. During this time of healing, I felt isolated and frustrated that the Advent and the Christmas season were happening, and I was unable to decorate, shop, or participate as I usually would during the holidays. Emotionally, since being struck by the vehicle driven by Darrell Brooks, I have felt like a victim. Every day I was reminded that I was limited by physical pain and loss of self. The world went on, but I was stuck, not able to move forward. Today, I am taking the final step forward in my journey of coming out the other side of this incident. Life is starting to look like it was before November 21st, 2021. I know I am not the same person that I was before this trauma, but now I have an enhanced appreciation for life and a stronger sense of spirituality. I am grateful to have a supportive family,
Hey,
supportive
Tony.
friends, and my Catholic community of Waukesha who have all walked this road with me. Forgiveness is a choice. I know that I can forgive you, Darrell Brooks, without forgetting the trauma you caused, without you apologizing and acknowledging your actions. This may take some time for me to accomplish, but after today, I will not let your actions take over my life. I will move on. Regarding sentencing, Your Honor, I would like to request that due to Darrell Brooks's total lack of concern for human life on November 21st, 2021, that for each count that the jury returned a guilty verdict, Darrell Brooks received the maximum sentence for each of those counts. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Rogers. My children were victims U and V. I'm a father of 4, 3 of which were marching with me in the parade last November. 2 of my children were struck and injured. I also serve as the president of the Waukesha Blazers baseball and fast pitch organization and was a couple months into that job at the time of the parade. I've debated whether or not to read a statement for this sentencing. At the end of the day, I felt it necessary to have my voice heard. For my sake, for my family's sake, and for the Waukesha Blazers' sake, and for all the other victims. I'm here today with families that I love, and I'm so sorry that this happened. First of all, this event was completely avoidable, and from my perspective, there has been zero remorse, sympathy, or acknowledgement of the victims by the defendant. All he had to do was stop the vehicle when he saw the crowd, and none of these lives would have been changed forever. For this reason alone, he needs to be locked up for the rest of his life. But enough about him. This is about the impact of the event on me, my family, and our Blazers organization. I'd like to speak as a father, first of all. The impact this has had on my family and I has been immense. This last year has been full of confusion, irritation, anxiety, and depression. We haven't been able to live a normal life. The trial has been dragged out, and literally we were pulled back through to relive everything, all because this person wouldn't admit it like a man and take what was coming to him. My kids are some of the strongest people I know, and they have proven that through the faith in God they've displayed throughout. However, the impact this has had on them literally makes me sick. No more parades, that joy is gone. This is something that will never leave them. I'm still learning things today as well about what they heard and saw that day. I pray every night that God continues to strengthen them to push through and know that He is in control. That night when we got home, I'll never forget Caden looking at me with glassy eyes. He looked up at me and said, "I'm really glad Riley is okay," and started to cry. When my wife Stacy sat on the chair next to me that night, it felt different. She hugged me longer than normal and a lot more firm than normal and said, "Thanks for keeping our kids safe." Everyone saw on the videos that were shown We're literally inches away from losing 3 out of our four children, and myself included. I thank God each day that he spared us and provided the adrenaline, courage, and strength to get my kids out of the way, gather all the kids we could, and pray together. My wife was going to come with us that night along with our toddler son. I play things in my head over and over, imagining what could have been if she would have come. Where would she have been standing when that SUV barreled through? I have flashbacks most days to Maya's jacket slipping through my hand. If I wouldn't have grabbed it the second time, I know what the outcome would have been. Riley still has trouble sleeping, with some nights getting out of bed 6, 7, 8, 9 times because she heard a noise or doesn't feel safe. A few days ago, I was one-on-one in the car with her, and I finally apologized for not finding her right away. Thank God our friend found her and kept her safe, but as her dad, I've lived with the fact that I couldn't find all my kids that night after it happened. I went way too long not knowing where my kids were,
Bless his
with
heart.
panic overwhelming me. As a father, I can confidently say that this incident had a year-long impossible impact on me and our family. Are we managing? Yes, of course, as God is in control. Now to speak as the Blazers president. This was a happy gathering and almost a kickoff of my presidency with the Blazers since I was only a couple months in. We were getting to know each other, welcoming our new board members, and overall just ready to advertise our Blazers program. Looking back at the pictures from prior to the tragedy, we were so happy. So much love and camaraderie. We were ready for an awesome season. I spoke just prior about my perspective during the event as a father of 3 kids, but as the president of our organization, the weight of the moment to find an account for everyone felt like it was on my shoulders. We had nearly 35 people there. I knew I had lots of help, and for that, I can't thank the other parents and coaches enough. The moment was a blur, and gathering and putting kids up in the truck was the priority. From there, the kids I could find huddled with me in the theater, and we said a prayer for those injured and being attended to. I knew that the next few days were going to be intense, but I never fully grasped how crazy the following days, weeks, and months would be. The amount of turmoil and struggle for our Blazers organization was literally insurmountable. From the moment of the incident, the amount of media and law enforcement interaction was exhausting and unending. Media showing up at my door asking for individual participants' status. Unbeknownst to them, the 2 of my children were hurt. There was nonstop email flow, phone calls, planning, coordinating, and filtering through things. It was endless work. This job went from something I truly loved, from my biggest passion in life, to something I cried about for months. I went from giving speeches on Facebook Live about how cool our new indoor facility was to speaking at Jackson's funeral. From there, the community really pulled together. The amount of love and compassion that came our way was also unending. It was honestly overwhelming. For that, we cannot thank this community enough. Finally, I wanted to briefly touch on the true impact this has had on me. My faith was challenged over the past year, but I can confidently say it's stronger than ever. The hardest part about the whole incident was not knowing where my kids were, not having answers for what just happened, not knowing if more danger was coming. I knew I had Maya next to me, but when I went back and forth screaming for Caden and Riley, that horror plagues me every day. I go back to those moments quite often, and when I watch the videos during the trial, it brought back all those feelings. Pure and utter terror. That's what it was, and that's the impact it still has today. Finally, in closing, I'm a man of faith and wanted to share 2 Bible passages which have pushed me through. First of all, my confirmation passage, Joshua 1:9. It reads, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And secondly, I met with my pastor prior to testifying, and he provided me with an excellent part of Scripture. Philippians 4. It says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understandings, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Thank you for listening, and may God strengthen us all.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to take a second, you guys, if you don't mind. So we've been sitting here and listening to this, and it's heart-wrenching. It is. And his demeanor is what it is. I don't know what I expected. I really don't. But when I'm listening to them talk about what this has done to them personally and as family and community and all of that, it reminds me that Mr. Brooks failed to do what the court asked him to do in preparing his witnesses for today. You know what I mean? And how, because he didn't do, which he's had plenty of time to do, and that the judge did even say that, you know, she recognized that because he was representing himself, basically, that it would be a little bit different, and that she would make sure that the jail, you know, accommodated him. And yet he still didn't do what was asked of him. And I firmly believe that part of the reason he didn't do what was asked of him is because he wants to drag this out even more and make it harder on the victims, because he's not thinking of the victims. He's only thinking of himself. And it breaks my heart, and it makes me so angry that one individual can just hurt this many people and impact so many lives in such a negative way. Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
My name is Jessica Gonzalez, and this is my husband, Juan Gonzalez Lopez. We represent the Blazers organization, as well as many others, and you could even argue the state of Wisconsin. Last night, as I thought about my statement, my son scooched over on the couch and snuggled into me. He laid with his head on my lap, and I stroked his hair. We stayed like that until it was time for bed. He knows we're here today, and it was as if he knew we needed a little extra love last night. Moments like these should be pure with love and affection, but since November 21st, they are mixed with flashes and images of what could have been. Mama, I'm here. I was on the other side. This is one of the memories and words that I'll never forget and hear dozens of times a day without warning. The relief I felt hearing those words on November 21st was devastating, but I found my son unharmed. That should be the end of the story, right? We're fine, right? Physically, yes, but fine is a word we use when people ask us if we're okay, but we're not. It was only a short time before we had readied for the parade, got our hot cocoa, and took pictures to snap a shot of the fun about to be had. Before the parade, I left him with his teammate and new friend Jackson at the Blazers drop-off spot and walked my daughter to her dance team location. With my mother-in-law visiting from Mexico, she was excited for her first Christmas parade. Stationed at the corner of the Clark Hotel with friends, my daughter's dance group waved with smiles as they passed us. She was headed to the library where I would pick her up. The Dancing Grannies, one of our favorite groups, performed flawlessly as they passed us. My son's baseball group was after the extreme dancers who were within sight. Then the gasps and screams came from everywhere, and the red SUV sped past us. I yelled stop and put my hands out like I had the power to make it happen. I felt like I was punched in the stomach when I realized the SUV came from the direction of my son's group. Panicked and lightheaded, and knowing my daughter was safe, I ran to find my son. Running through the streets, my legs felt like they had a life of their own. I found Jackson first. I saw his little body in his Blazers jersey, his eyes looking up, looking nowhere. I knew he was hurt badly. Seeing Jackson on the ground, I began looking for my son amongst the rest of the bodies. I screamed hysterically, searching frantically. What ifs filled my head. I heard Mom from so many directions, but it wasn't him. Finally, it was. I turned to see him with other Blazers who were in the team truck. He called out to me, "Mama, I'm here. I was on the other side." Yes, I found my son unharmed, but after, the chaos continued. We ran. I covered his eyes as we rushed back to our group. I called my husband to tell him something terrible had happened, but had no words to explain. Headed for the library, we were told there was an active shooter. We ran again. I covered my son's head with my arms so bullets would hit me first. He cried. I tried to assure myself that things like this don't happen.
Yes, it is,
At the
Navigator.
library, I ran up the stairs
Completely.
and shouted for my daughter, who was huddled with a friend and her daughter. Yes, I found my children unharmed. But after, the pain and terror continued. After the parade, we discovered people had died, and that several people in my son's group were hit, including his coach and teammates. We learned that my son's teammate was in critical condition, but I already knew this. I still see his eyes without closing mine. What does it feel like to attend a funeral of a child your age? I hate that my kids know. I hate that I didn't get a chance to cheer on my son and Jackson during the baseball season last year. I hate that my son said it was weird having one less teammate. For more than a week, it was late nights to avoid sleep, and our family of 4 piled into one bed. There was no question this was a traumatic experience. Counselors were available. My son didn't want to talk about it, and today still doesn't. I tried to return to work. I tried to return to teaching. I couldn't make it through a day without feeling hypervigilant, startling at every noise, having a panic attack from the sound of a door, shout, thud, gasp, anything and everything. After the parade, I couldn't make it through a day. My joy disappeared. I felt guilty. I had no right to feel joy since my son and daughter were alive and others were not. I was open about questions my kids had, but I cried and screamed in agony when they weren't around. I overreacted, shouting and pulling my kids near in the parking lots and streets, or anytime I saw a car come within a quarter mile away, convinced they all had ill intentions. PTSD throws all the punches. I left my career to work intensively on healing in a program for PTSD. I have only just returned to the workplace, only just a month ago. Something quieter, something with less action. Because after almost 1 year, some days still feel like November 21st was yesterday. Intrusive memories, hypervigilance, nightmares, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, anger, guilt, shame. These are all things I and others live with daily because Darrell Brooks drove through our joy and turned it to terror. When he suggested he could have hit more, he was wrong. He hit everyone. The toll this event has taken on everyone, physically hurt or not, is tremendous. And it sickens me to know that there are so many others with a similar story as ours. I know some today may offer forgiveness, but for me, Forgiveness is for accidents, mistakes, or poor choices that the offender expresses remorse for their actions. Darrell Brooks offers no remorse, but he did search for sympathy for himself. I cannot offer forgiveness. I will not. Darrell Brooks should be held accountable for every second of pain and trauma he inflicted on all of us that day, including the many years inflicted.
I'm gonna
already
mute you guys. I'll be in chat.
He is and always will be a danger to society. With that, Your Honor, I ask that the full sentence is issued and he spends the rest of his days in prison without the chance of parole. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Lindsay Conkle, and my family walked with the Waukesha Blazers. November 21st, 2021, my family walked in the Waukesha Christmas Parade. My boys were dressed proudly in their baseball jerseys, streets lined with smiling faces. The crowd was happy and excited. In a split second, excited cheers turned into sounds of screaming and horror. A trail of bloody bodies were left laying in the road. My family was not physically injured that day. We somehow dodged the path of the car by inches. Our mental and emotional injuries were severe, and they remain a struggle for us every day. We had the image in the plowing people into our minds for the rest of our lives. My children were separated, and I ran through a trail of bloody bodies that were left laying in the road. I will not forget how many people I saw. Some seizing in an intersection, some unconscious, and some not. My children cried themselves to sleep for weeks after and still do. They still wake up with nightmares, as do I. They could not walk in a parking lot without clinging to me, shaking and terrified that a car would try to run them down. We suffer from major panic attacks and PTSD, all from a day that was supposed to be happy and exciting. As parents, we have to try to help cope with our children, but we do not know how to cope ourselves. My children, my family, and I, and every person that we know will never be the same after that day. There were many people that were fortunate enough to walk away unharmed. However, Jackson Sparks was not one of those people. A child, 8-year-old, walking next to his big brother with his whole life ahead of him. The next time my children wore their baseball jerseys was to a funeral. A funeral for an 8-year-old boy, their friend, their teammate, that they have spent many days playing and making memories while at their brother's baseball games. His family and friends will never see his smiling face light up a room, and his team will never be able to celebrate a win with him on the baseball field ever again. Every moment of Jackson's life that was ahead of him was ripped away by Darrell Brooks. You, Darrell Brooks, you hid in a children's playhouse and ditched your hoodie and a sandal. That playhouse happened to be my children's at the house we just moved out of a couple of months prior. That playhouse was built for them, built for my sons, and you hid there after you left their friend and teammate lifeless in a road, along with many others. You didn't just get lost in a parade route. You disregarded police and the safety of hundreds, and you disregarded life. You very selfishly ripped away the joy from the families who were there just to bring joy to others. There are many holes left in our community, but our community has grown stronger and we all have each other. You, however, will have no one. You will have no one in a cell where you belong for the rest of your life. Thank you, Judge Darrell, and we ask that please he never see the light of day again.
Thank you.
My name is Sherry Sparks. I am Jackson and Tucker's mom. I stand here today with my son Tucker and my husband Aaron. I'm here today to represent my family, but mostly for my boys, who were both struck down by the red SUV on November 21st. I want to give a voice to our son, Jackson Sparks. Our family is forever changed. We are hurt, angry, traumatized, and broken. November 21st was a day that was supposed to be fun and filled with laughter and smiles. Instead, it became a nightmare full of fear, screams, and tears. Put the first one up. My boys were walking in the Waukesha Christmas parade with their baseball teammates, friends, and coaches. It was a chilly and windy day that day, so we all layered up and prepared to kickstart our holiday season. We met up with our Blazers group, decorated the truck, prepared the buckets of candy and flyers for the boys, took some group photos, and then I left to go find my seat near the end of the parade route and wait for our group while enjoying the parade. I had no idea then the nightmare that was coming my way. Nor did I know that it would be the last time I would hear Jackson's voice and see his smile. I wish I would have known then that the hug he gave me before I went to sit down was the last hug I would ever get from him. I would have held on to him a lot longer. After the red SUV flew past us, it was pure chaos. I will never, ever forget the horrible sound of the car hitting bodies and the thud of bodies landing on the ground. I immediately grabbed my favorite plaid blanket, ran up the street to find my boys. What I found shook my world. I saw Jackson first in the arms of a police officer. He was running him to get him medical attention. My husband was right behind them and told me that Tucker had been struck also. Pointed me back to the direction where Tucker was. Can you do the second photo, please? That's Tucker underneath my blanket there, the plaid blanket. My world came crashing down at that moment. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw up and cry. Adrenaline kicked in and I went to find my boy. I spotted Jackson's baseball hat lying in the road first. Then Tucker's hat. Then I found Jackson's shoe, which kind of led me to Tucker. I finally spotted him. He was one of the many bodies lying in the road, covered in blankets. I recognized the shoes on his feet. That's how I found him. They're sticking out from under the blanket. I stayed at Tucker's side as he lay in the road waiting for an ambulance to come back for him. He was semi-conscious, but we couldn't move him without a backboard due to his head being injured. They had run out of backboards. Luckily, a nearby shop owner / hero dragged a door out of her shop to roll him onto so we could get him out of the cold and get him warm. An hour laying out in the cold road where he was thrown from impact. You can go to the next photo, please. This is what we were facing next. Both boys had traumatic head and brain injuries. They both ended up in the ICU at Children's Hospital. Their rooms just a few doors down from one another. The next day, Tucker asked us about Jackson, if he was okay or was he worse than himself. Do you have any idea how gut-wrenching it is to have to explain your 12-year-old son that his little brother isn't going to make it? His injuries are too extensive for his little body to come back from, and that he won't be coming home with us ever again. Leaving him at the hospital was brutal. To see the confusion, frustration, and hurt on his face when he's standing over his little brother in his hospital room, taking in all the machines he was hooked up to. Tucker remembers everything up until the moment he was hit. He had actually turned around and saw the SUV coming towards them. He said Jackson was right next to him. He said he saw a few people get hit, and then he tried to run out of harm's way. He didn't make it. Being the protective big brother, Tucker blamed himself. He felt he should have tried to grab Jackson or done more to protect his little brother. It broke my heart to hear him saying these things. Tucker's physical injuries were also severe. He still struggles with memory issues and brain processing speed. The mental and emotional damage is severe. Survivor's guilt, PTSD, anxiety. He still gets headaches. His little brother was taken from him. He's suddenly an only child now. He misses his little brother and his playmate. Jackson brought out the silly in him, and life will never be the same without him. You can go to the next photo. Every holiday, special event, family function, vacation, there will always be an empty chair or space where Jackson should be. Jackson's absence is very prominent. Every day we face that vacancy, and it triggers sadness and trauma. Jackson's life was taken from him and taken from us. Life isn't the same without him, and it never will be. This morning, I should have spent the morning making him breakfast, taking him to school, hearing about his day later. Instead, I'm standing here in this courtroom, asking for justice for my boys. We came so close to losing both of them that day. I miss Jackson every second of every single day. I feel gutted and broken. It hurts to breathe sometimes. It hurts to live without him here. My mama's soul aches for him. I am emotionally and mentally exhausted. The pain I carry with me every day feels so heavy. Yet I have to push forward, still be there to help Tucker heal, and move forward with find our new normal. Can you go to the next photo, please? As a family of faith, we know this man will face God's judgment someday for his actions. Until then, we feel it is this court's duty and responsibility to all the victims to sentence this man to the maximum penalty allowed under Wisconsin law for each and every guilty charge. We feel this man does not deserve to see freedom in our lifetime, nor our son Tucker's lifetime. We have learned throughout this trial that this man is incapable of empathy or remorse. He has shown no sympathy nor apology for all of the pain, suffering, and loss of life he has caused to so many. This man not only took Jackson away from our family, he violently ripped Jackson out of our lives. Jackson was only 8 years old. 8. He only had 8 years here with us. He was robbed of everything. He'll never get to hit a home run, catch frost with his brother again, meet his wrestling hero, Braun Strowman. He won't ask a girl to prom. He won't go to college, get married, or have children of his own. Jackson will never be able to do any of these things. These milestones will never happen. He was a bright light in our lives. He was very shy to most people, but those close to him, to his family, he was a big ball of energy. He was charismatic and full of light in life. His life was cut out way too short. Jackson and the other victims deserve justice. We deserve closure in order to heal and find our new normal. We hope to achieve that today. Thank you. And thank you, prosecution, Judge Darrell, very much. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
At this time, Your Honor, we'd like to request a break and bring in the second group.
Yes, the court's going to step off as well while you do that. We'll take about a 10-minute break.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any impactful smart words other than what these tragedies so frequently often remind us that we should never forget, but because we're human, we have to be reminded that today is a gift and tomorrow is never promised. So while I have you guys here, I would just like to remind everybody of that, and that for you guys to remember that when you're out here on these YouTube streets, and we've seen a lot recently, a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, but also we've seen pain be, and I'm not talking about physical pain, obviously, but we've seen emotional pain being inflicted on others. And I want you guys to think about what I said about today being a gift and tomorrow not being promised when you're out on these YouTube streets conducting yourselves, right? Because it's really not worth it. That jab that you take, or that you see somebody else take, you know, there are real people on the other side of all of these keyboards, all of these computer screens, all of these avatars. And even if it's just for today, maybe we as a community can honor these victims and try to be better people moving forward. I know none of you guys in the chat do this kind of stuff. You guys are all great people. And I'm really glad that even though there are some not so, I don't know if they're not great people, honestly, but they have some not so great behavior, right? They can always change. They can always choose to be different. They can always choose to act differently. And I hope that's what they'll do. When Jackson's mom spoke, when she said that her mama's soul aches for her son, aches for her child, I think that we can all relate to that, whether we have children or not. It's devastating that what Mr. Brooks did that day was really rob the world of the potential of who that little boy and other children could be. And so I don't really have anything really more than that to say, but I don't want it to be just empty space. Charlie, he doesn't take any accountability for what he did. He doesn't even acknowledge that he did anything. So, no. And I think for the victims and their families, I love you too, Shmita. I think that that's probably the hardest part for them, because he takes no accountability. And the fact that he has the audacity to sit there while this mother and his families are pouring out their hearts and their souls and roll his eyes is disgusting. And after today, of course, we will always remember the victims. They will never be forgotten. But this man, this person, this channel will never talk about him again. I don't care what updates there are. That's that. But I just felt like, because this trial received so much attention, and I think the majority of the attention it received was because of what happened. It was actually, like, about the victims. But I also think that a lot of it was because of the shenanigans that occurred in the courtroom. And I think that after today, no more attention should be given to him. That's what I pledge to do. I, obviously only have control over me, but for me, for this channel, that's it. I don't care what updates come. I won't talk about it. There'll be plenty of other news sources, media, other channels, maybe even, I don't know, but it won't be here. So, yeah. I'm just glad that you guys are all here, and I know that this is difficult. And we're just listening. I can't imagine how difficult this must be for the victims. And everybody that day was a victim. He robbed the world of the potential and the lives that he took, and he ruined and forever changed Christmas, especially for children. The holidays are special for everybody, but they're really, really special to kids. Kids, I remember when my kiddos were little, and, they would be home for Christmas break. And even before Christmas break, right around, right after Thanksgiving, when all of the advertisers and stuff start coming out with all the new toys and stuff that they're, all the commercials and stuff for all the new toys come out for Christmas. And I remember them, the four of them sitting around and, talking about, how excited they were for Christmas, and, what they really, really wanted. And you know what I mean? And it's just, and he's ruined that. He's ruined that. These people forever, you heard them, things that we all, and we all somewhat take for granted. We're used to traffic, noises, and we sort of we hear them, right? And we pay attention, but not the same way that these people will for the rest of their lives. And it breaks my heart. And I really hope, I know it's going to take them a long time to heal, if ever. I think what they will be facing is more like their new normal, rather than, I just don't know how, like, you actually would heal from something like this. Like, I think you just move on, because, you just can not move on, continue on, because what else can you do? Even if he did, Charlie, I wouldn't. He won't get any more attention on this channel.
All right, we are back on the record. The state may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. For group 2, I believe, Kelly, are you going to go? Jen? Okay.
I'm victim LLO, and on November 21st, 2021, me and my family's life changed forever. My brother and I were headed to parade. We've been scared of parades not letting us feel safe and comfortable, or even being able to run out onto the road to fetch candy. For example, when I went to the Arrowhead Parade, all my friends were asking me why I didn't want to go out onto the road to get candy, and I said, because of the Waukesha Parade. And I was mad because if the parade incident did not happen, I would be able to go onto the road to enjoy something as simple as a parade. When I got to the parade with my friends, I constantly remembered to not go onto the road To be better safe than sorry. It is the last thing I want to happen again. How could you do this? Think of your kids. Would you do this to them? I'm just a child with a lifetime left to live. I'm also here from my younger brother, victim KKK. When he was hit by the front of the car, he was traumatized forever. I feel his fear. I feel his pain, because when I was hit, I broke down into tears too. On the way to the hospital, we had to lay our head down on the floor because we heard there was a shooter. My fingers, my whole body was paralyzed in fear and fright. When we made it to the hospital, I was terrified because I thought I broke my fingers. And when they asked me what happened, I was too busy crying that I couldn't speak. I still think about this event to this day. The day after the parade, I couldn't even go to school because of what he did. All my friends were worried about me, texting me, asking if I was even alive. Sometimes I even think of all the others that were hit and how they were in the hospital for longer than me, and how their parents were probably praying that their kids would be okay, and that this would be a once-in-a-lifetime happening. I think this should have never happened to us. The day I went back to school, everyone was asking me a million questions every time I was alone. Everyone was babying me, acting like one of my family members was killed. What makes it worse is that almost a year ago my dog died, and I have lived with it my whole life, so I was extra sad and upset. At that moment, I realized that our family had to find justice against the man who hit too many people and caused a nightmare on November 21st, 2021. I ask for this pain to never be caused again.
And I've been asked to read a statement by victim KKK. When I got hit by the car that day, it hurt a lot. I got hit on my right leg, and it still kind of hurts now and then. That hit changed my life, and it still scares me sometimes when I think about it. I also feel bad for the families who lost someone and everyone who died and was in the parade. And then he drew a picture of a SUV, and it says car that hit me, and there's a little figure and candy bucket and bottle and me. So they handed that to me on behalf of victim KKK.
Your we need to take a break for a second, please. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's important.
All right, thank you. We'll do that.
I have no idea what's going on. I don't even really have words, you guys. I don't know what to say. It's just so. Hey, Max. Hope you're feeling better, babe. And what I should say, I need to correct myself because today is sentencing, Max, and we're listening to the victim impact statements. I have to say this. To be clear, the sentencing will be tomorrow too. Also, so to say after today I won't would be not true because, oh, excuse me, obviously tomorrow as well. And it seems like, yes, Shmita, the prosecution did ask for a break and said it's important. And that's all I know. I don't know what else to say. I hardly ever do this, but hey, Shmita, or well, I won't put you on the spot. Never mind, Shmita. So it's okay. I was gonna say you guys want to come up, but I'm not gonna do that to you, Shmita. I'm a big girl. I'll tough it out. Hey, Heather, whatever. I hope you feel better too. I'm sorry you're concussed. Thank you, Amelia. I appreciate that. Hold on, you guys. Let me go. Super Mama D. We did need a bit of a humor break. Thank you for providing that. I it seems like Wisconsin is really trying to compete with Florida for craziness. I just can't believe how I don't know why I'm surprised. Honestly, I really don't know. I don't even I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I am. I am really surprised at his callousness. It's not that I thought, okay, I did not think for for a second, but you should, Super Mama D. I would totally come and support. It's not that I'm like surprised that he's not showing emotion. I mean, let's be honest, like what the hell he did, right? Like that's not really shocking. It's not that for me. What it is for me is the rolling of the eyes is what I cannot like even get past, and like I know that Dahmer refused, he didn't wear his glasses because he didn't want to actually see what was going on and all of that stuff, right? Like I get it. He's a POS too, right? Obviously. I think that goes without saying. But he didn't even behave this way. And I guess that's what I'm just so like, what the F about? You know what I mean? Like, I am just beyond disgusted at his behavior. I mean, sit there and say nothing. Fine. Don't make eye contact. Don't do any of that stuff. That's fine, I guess. I mean, I don't understand how, even if, right, you you believe yourself in this situation, not guilty, whatever, right? But let's just put all that aside. Even if you do believe yourself to not be guilty in this scenario, hearing the child and the mom, how do you not have any kind of reaction? How does the child speaking not bring tears to your eyes? It brought tears to my eyes. Why y'all think I was mute? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I mean, I guess if I understood, I would be a different kind of person, but I just can't. I really can't. He's just so foul. Yeah, like I just like what are you even doing? You know? Like why I just even if, you know, just even if he had just sat, like him just sitting there would be, I don't even know what the word, more appropriate. How about that? More appropriate behavior than rolling his eyes. Like that's so, ugh. That's the only word I have for it. Just ugh. But I'm for reals when I say Mr. Brooks will get no more after this is the sentencing and everything is complete. That's it. He gets nothing from me. No more, nothing. And I'll say this too. He's got me thinking um about what we maybe can do as a community. I don't know, for this community, for the victims. I don't know what the answer is. It's just making me think. You know what I mean? Like I have obviously thoughts rolling around in my brain. I mean, I have that all the time, but you know what I mean. Uh, Honestly, I don't know how they're doing it. I really do not. I don't know how they're in the same room with him. I really don't. I don't think that I could be. I'm telling you guys right now. I don't think I could be at all. Nope. Mm-mm. Sure don't. Yeah, I just wish I could figure I don't know what would be I don't know what we could do, but I'm sure we'll think of something. I feel like I don't know, I sort of feel like the true crime community um you know, needs to I don't know, maybe in some small way atone. But I don't know what the answer is. So maybe if we all just sort of over the, you know, next few days, week, we we could come up with something. Hey, cement shoes. How's it going? Good to see you. It's just so sad. I do kind of wonder what's going on, though. They've been on break for a minute. I hope everything is okay. All right, Amelia. Thanks for being here, babe. I'm probably good till about 11:30, and then I have stuff I have to do, unfortunately. I have grown up responsibilities. And yeah, which obviously we all have grown up responsibilities. I just spend an inordinate amount of time avoiding them, I think, some days. Yeah, sugar bait. I think excuse me. Yeah, I so it's a complex, multi-layered situation. And I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be like, we really need to think about and reevaluate, you know what I mean? And but I would not, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I will say this, I really cannot imagine a scenario where Judge Darrell would at all give him the possibility of parole. You know, and I think that because it reminds me of Chandler Halderson's trial and the remarks that the judge made during his sentencing, because the discretion was left up to the judge. And I think that there are certain scenarios, certain crimes, certain just that you just, you know, can't come back from. And I feel like not only should the crime obviously be considered when sentencing occurs, but other factors as well. You know, it would be very different if Mr. Brooks had said, you know what? I could come up with 11 billion excuses as to why this occurred, but at the end of the day, it's because of me. And it shouldn't have happened. That would be a start. You know, obviously not just saying the words, like actually, you know, meaning it. Obviously, true and genuine remorse, because that does happen. There are cases where the defendant, the convicted, does have true, genuine remorse. I was watching Netflix, and there's a documentary on there. It's very short. It's Virginia versus Brittany. Oh, I cannot think of her last name right now. Anyway, basically what happened is it's a stare defense. I'm not going to give too much away, but I will say this. You know, I've heard many, you know, watching trials, interrogations, just true crime in general, right? I've heard many accused and convicted people speak. And there are those that only ever feel remorse for themselves, not even for their families, right? And how their crime impacted their family, right? But then there are those who have remorse for their actions, what they actually did. And I have to say that she was one of those people. When I watched that documentary, It's not a very long one, you guys. It's like maybe an hour and a half, but it's a good one and you should watch it. It's interesting. But anyway, you know, when she was telling her story, right, and and what happened, yeah, did you get the same sense, Sugar Beat, that Brittany was really remorseful for what she did? I did. I did. For me, I felt like she was actually sorry for what she did and the impact that it had on the man's family's life, right? And the impact that it had on her own family. And then finally, like the remorse for what it did to her personally was like way at the bottom. I just like I was, you know, like his behavior is just so abhorrent. Let me go look at the law and crime chat and see what's going on over there. You know, I guess I could go to Court TV, but for whatever reason, law and crime, they really do, their mods do like a really good job of like keeping on top of stuff. Like they know what's going on in the courtroom, you know, and keeping people apprised of the like it. I was sitting there watching yesterday in the Roden trial because I was there, you know, the Pike County massacre, because I was thinking, well, surely, um, you know, there's going to be testimony, because that's the way it sort of ended on Thursday, right? But no, there wasn't. And hold on. So there is something that happened, and but I only this was right after Jen Dunn with Victims Assistance read a statement on behalf of a child. Opera would not comment to me in. There's something going on in the courtroom. Hold on a second. Let me look. Let me scroll. All right, hold on. Let me look. Something is going on. Negative. So let me just read this real quick and see what's happening. All right, hold on. That is just the Twitter feed, which doesn't really help me. Okay, let me just hold on. So there are some rumors going on that there may have been some potential something, and I don't like to speak on anything until like I can have it confirmed. So I think so. This is what I think we're going to do. I think you guys can all guess what the rumors are, what the rumors pertain to. It's the only kind of situation that would shut down a courtroom, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and end the stream. I will be watching this afternoon on my own, obviously, independent. Corky, it is the state of Virginia versus Brittany, and I cannot let me just Google real quick while I'm thinking. Anyway, bottom line is I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. I'll watch the rest. I know you guys will too. Hold on a second. While I look this up, I can't do both at the same time. Dadgummit. Brittany Smith. It's the state of Virginia versus Brittany Smith. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I'll continue to watch. Tonight, let me check with Dr. B to just verify, but we had intended to do the roast. Maybe, let me just confirm. We're either going to do the roast or we will listen to some more impact statements tonight. Plus, I got to find out what is going on with Pike County. I don't know if they're just going to have this hearing today or what they're doing. If the state is going to rest, and then the then the defense will start their case in chief. So whatever happens, just whatever, I'll be live tonight regardless. So just keep your eyes peeled for your notifications, all that business. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Oh, you're welcome, Navigator. Thank you guys for being here. And I will see you guys tonight. And remember what I said earlier, today is a gift and tomorrow is not promised. So keep that in your mind when you're dealing with life. You know what I mean? So, all right, you guys, I'll talk to y'all tonight. All right. Bye. Have a great rest of your day. All right. Thanks for being here. Okay. Bye.